Hey guys, and welcome back. So, I feel so excited and blessed and grateful because I think it's just my season of just getting blessed. Like, it's been a long 3 years of hard work, fighting hard, waking up early morning, staying in class, seeing patients, fighting, working with professors, difficult professors. Well, I wouldn't say that difficult because my professors, for the most part, have been pretty cool, but difficult supervisors. And I can finally exhale a little bit and relax, knowing that things are getting better. Like I can like almost see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can almost see like the finish line. Like I'm almost there, you guys. I'm almost there, and I was really shocked and surprised to get a phone call yesterday. Now, initially, I had no idea who was calling me. I'm like, who is this? I had a missed call. I had a voicemail. I was at work at a hospital where I see patients. So I've been busy yesterday. When I leave, I check my voicemail and I heard like it was kind of like blurry. I can barely hear him clearly, but I heard IRB. And I'm thinking like, why would IRB call me? That's usually not that's not typical for them to call, right? Like this whole application process with IRB, and for you guys who don't know, IRB stands for Institutional Review Board. So it's an ethics committee that researchers go through in order to get their research studies approved. Being that I am collecting data from ethnic minorities, and not only that, but preschool children, they are underage, they're minors, they're considered high risk population, right? So my particular study is it requires a full board review, and it can be pretty intense, right? So considering that, I think I was a little bit nervous hearing the IRB on my voicemail yesterday. I was just like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Like, I think my first thought was like, oh shit, here come they hating on your girl. Like, they ain't gonna approve my study. Like, they gonna give me a hard time. And granted, I had did this study like as a preliminary study to my research. It was like a pilot study that I did for my research practicum a year ago, right? But it was a smaller study. This is actually the full blown study where I'm going to be able to reach my sample size, analyze data, and come up hopefully with some statistical significant results that I can share with the public, right? So this is the real deal. And even though I had done this same study a year ago as a pilot study and it was approved through IRB, they said to us that there's no guarantee that your study will get reapproved, right? Approved again just because it was approved before, because things change, rules, laws, policies change, so you just never know, right? So I think I was a little bit concerned. I was just like, please don't tell me that it's not going to be approved because I don't want to do anything else. I mean, I have different other topics that I could research, right? Even my chairperson, she was like, because she saw my website and she noticed I'm a BDSM writer. So she was like, have you thought about doing research on the BDSM community? I'm like, yes, of course. Of course. I've kind of like done surveys with the BDSM population, but nothing like formally. And so I thought about it, but that's not something I necessarily want to attach to my PhD dissertation. Like when I do my PhD dissertation, obviously I want it to be something of real significance that's going to influence the black community, and not just the black community, obviously, because anything that impacts the black community impacts the world, right? The nation and the world. And so I definitely wanted that aim with my research. And yeah, that's why I think I kind of focus on black identity. So I'm researching, my topic is black identity, development, acculturation, and implicit racial bias. And I'm looking at my two predictive variables, black identity and acculturation, I'm looking at those in African American parents. We'll be in the Los Angeles area. So starting out, because I think my study is going to take form over probably, I would say, a decade maybe of research. But in order to meet the requirements for my school, I'm going to focus on the Los Angeles area. So my population, my sample population is going to come locally. But with time, I am going to extend it to make comparisons with this population in Los Angeles and Black Americans and living in New York, and then I'm gonna go to the South and just go all around just the country, right? With researching Black identity, acculturation, and implicit racial bias in African Americans. So I'm going to start there, but it's going to like expand, right? And eventually I'm going to do a cross-cultural analysis between African Americans, so that it will be Black people born in America and comparing it to Black people abroad, let's say in the Caribbean or in different countries in Africa, just to get, just to see basically if there are any differences. I imagine that there would be, because of the socio-political structure in which those populations live are different. So you would think that African Americans have a different level of acculturation and Black identity compared to Africans living in Africa. But that's going to come a little bit later down the road. So those two variables are my predictor variables, Black identity and acculturation, and then I'm going to assess implicit racial bias in children. This is really going to be interesting. Thanks, Mark. Everybody's just like focused on what I'm wearing. Maybe I shouldn't wear distracting clothes, because I feel like no one pays attention to the words coming out of my mouth. They just look at like what I'm wearing, and that's cool. I appreciate you guys' compliments, but come on, y'all. Okay, let's take a minute and focus on what I'm wearing. Acknowledge that I have on very nice African garb. Enjoy the colors. Appreciate the yellow, the gold. I guess this is gold, yellow, whatever. The maroon, the brown, and my it's like a onesie actually. So this is like a pantsuit. It's all connected. And then my scarf that matches my pantsuit. And I got it, y'all. Actually, it didn't really cost much. I actually got it from this African shop out here where I live. I live in South LA. And a friend of mine, he just put me on. I didn't even know. He was like, oh, you live. They call it like the neighborhood is called like the 60s. It's some gang related shit. I wouldn't know. I'm not affiliated to any gang. Really don't have any interest in that. But he was like, yeah, you live where the Crips live. Like I don't live too far from the Marathon store where Nipsey got shot and killed. So he was like, yeah. But anyway, so in my neighborhood, there is this flea market that I go to. It's right down the street, and they have an African shop in there. And yeah, I got this for like, what is it, $45? Pretty cheap, but I like it though. You're listening and looking. Thank you. I appreciate it when you like and listen to what I'm saying, as opposed to commenting so much on how I look. I did a video previously to this on a different topic. It was by request of one of my followers, and they was just so focused on what I'm wearing. And I'm like, y'all, I just put this on because I like it, I'm comfortable. This is just something I wore around the house. This ain't, sometimes I guess I dress like this when I go out, but I don't like too much attention, I guess. So I like to be low key. So I wear like, y'all see what I wear. I wear like tank tops, jeans, stuff like that. Nothing too flamboyant. But I appreciate y'all. So now that we have meditated on how I look, and I can take that in and appreciate your comments, I want to get back to the focus of this video, which is my research study. So that's what I'm studying, and being that my population is considered a high risk population, it requires full board review. And so I was a little bit nervous, and I'm listening to the voicemail, and he's just like, yes, this is the chairman. He said his name, from IRB. And I have some questions about your research study. And I'm just like, oh shit, here we go. What they about to say. You're about to give your girl a hard time. I already been through enough in this program, and thank God I'm near the end. Like, I only have 2 more semesters left, fall and spring, and I'll be done with my coursework, and I'll go to do my pre-doc, making money, getting paid, blah, 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 move on. Yes, I'm happy, you guys, but I have to get through this first, which is my dissertation, and that is a beast in and of itself. Anybody who's a PhD student or a doctoral student, med student, whatever kind of doctoral student you are, you know about the dissertation, and it is something else. And that's where I'm at right now. And so before we actually embark on the research study, we have to get it approved through the ethics committee at our institution. And so that can be a process in and of itself, right? With mine, they say that projected, it can take up to 30 days for the review to go through. I submitted my application on May 20th. A couple days before the IRB committee actually looked at it, because I think they looked at it like early June, like June 5th, probably maybe a little bit later. And I've been wondering, like, damn, why haven't I received an email from these people? Because it's been a while. Like, I've been just sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting for them to at least confirm receipt of my application, right? And so I hadn't heard anything. And it's interesting and kind of ironic that just as I was kind of like talking to my colleagues at work about like what is going on with my freaking IRB application, boom, I get a freaking phone call from the chairperson of this committee. And so when I left work, I called him and I was just like, yeah, this is Danielle returning your phone call. He was like, hi. Now, granted, where I was, it was kind of noisy. Of course, I live in LA, right? It was downtown. And he was like, yeah, it's kind of noisy. Can you call me back when you get to, a quieter place? I'm just like, no, y'all know me. I like to handle stuff like in the minute. Like, I'm like on point, like, procrastinating. Like, we're going to do this right now. So I was like, give me a second. I'm about to walk into this building, right? I had to like, finesse it, you know what I'm saying? And so he was like, all right, I think I can hear you better now. I was like, good. So we were talking and he was like, yeah, I reviewed your IRB application and I just wanted to let you know, great idea, great study. And y'all know I'm blushing. I'm just like, okay, thank you. I was just like, yes, like I appreciate it, white man. I think he's white. He sounds white. But I'm like, okay, because, being that my study is on race, right? And part of it, like when we do our application, the proposal basically consists of many different parts, right? So we have the literature review, we have the methods, which talks about how we're going to recruit participants, how we're going to actually administer or conduct the study that we're going to do, and then how we're analyzing the data and all of that, the rationale for the study, the reason why we need to do the research in the first place. Like, so of course in my literature review, I talk about all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can't talk about race, black identity, without mentioning the historical roots of it, right? The context in which we live in, and slavery obviously is a factor in racism. And so I talk about that so openly and blunt in my writing, and it may come off a bit harsh. Sometimes I'm very direct in my writing, even more direct than I am verbally. And just getting the feedback from my chairperson, I know it can be hard as a white person reading my research. I'm pretty sure, But it's nothing that they haven't heard before, right? I think white people, they kind of used to black people by now. They used to us, right? So, yeah, he's like responding to it. And he was like, yeah, great study. And I felt really good hearing those words, I mean, she, of course, gave me the stamp of approval. Because before we even submit our dissertation proposal to IRB, we have to get it approved via our committee that we're working with. So we have a dissertation committee which consists of a chairperson and like 2 or 3 other faculty members, right? So we have to even go through that. I already made a video on how I passed that step of the approval process, but then the next step would be to go through IRB. It's a different level, different kind of approval. The first kind is just making sure that I have everything laid out about what I'm going to do and the rationale. The second level through IRB is mainly focused on the ethical part of it. So making sure that my research is safe to do, that it protects the human participants that are going to be involved in the study. And if there are risks, then I can talk about how I'm going to ensure the safety of these participants and how I'm going to respond to any adverse reactions or whatever, right? It's kind of pretty detailed. It's more legal than anything. And so, yeah, it can get pretty tricky. But he was like, listening to his tone, he was just like, yeah, I'm impressed. And then he started giving me suggestions on how I can improve it, right? Which that's what they're supposed to do in IRB. But what he was saying was more specific to the measures that I'm using and different ways I can collect the data. And I'm just like, okay, now it wasn't because I'm always got my guard up. I can't make sure like they ain't trying to like change my shit around, So I'm listening and reading between the lines, and everything that he's saying is really specific to how I can better assess certain things from my study, so I can make a distinction between certain variables, which is only enhancing my study. Things that I haven't really thought about, that he said that I can do. For example, in terms of like assessing income, he said, I think how I have it set up, the interval scale is pretty small. It's pretty narrow. So when a person indicates how much income that they make, it almost pretty much kind of pinpoints basically what your income is, which sometimes for some groups of people, especially, minorities who make less compared to the dominant group who are white people who have higher incomes, they may feel like that question is a little bit intrusive and they don't want to report how much they make. So it's a way that you can go around that to still be able to get an idea of how much they make. It's just how you frame the question. And I'm just like, thank you. I didn't think about that. Like, boom, you got me. Got my back here. And so, yeah, just based on his suggestions, like over the phone, he was kind of giving me like a general idea of what his recommendations are going to be alongside the revisions that I need to make to get my study approved. I'm like, I appreciate that. It seems like he was actually giving me pointers that is going to obviously enhance my study. And being that he was focused on like things that aren't necessarily related to IRB, the stuff he was telling me was just like how I can make it a better study and encouraging me that it's gonna be a great study. He's like kind of invested in it, and I'm just like, what the hell, yo? Like, damn, son, sit bite. You know what I'm saying? It's my stuff, but nah. He was just being very supportive, and I'm like, I appreciate it. And he, being that he's done research also, and previously or whatever, he was just giving me some tips and also offering himself as a resource and linking me with other resources in terms of how I can collect my data, make it easier, because data collection can be very difficult sometimes depending on how much time you have and your connection with the community. I'm right here in the hood, right? So I'm just like, I don't think it's going to be necessarily a huge problem, but any way that can improve and make it easier for me to collect data, kudos. I mean, I do know that it's going to have to be face to face because of the nature of my assessment. It's kind of like an interview that I'll be doing with the little kiddos, little preschoolers, and so that is definitely going to have to be face to face. And so can't really cut corners there, but yeah, I appreciate that he told me also that the revisions are minor. He was like, you have minor revisions. I was like, okay, but minor is subjective too, right? It's relative. So who knows? I didn't even open it. I actually got the official email from IRB today with information on what I need to do to get my study approved to move things along the process. And I didn't open it yet. I have to like prepare my mind. Like everything is like a process, right? I have to like, you got to prepare yourself before you actually do certain things, because sometimes they can just overwhelm you, but like, whoa. So yeah, I'm definitely going to take some time, and I'll probably look at it, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, sometime this weekend, to see what exactly he told me to do, the minor revisions that I need to make. But basically, I say all of that to say that he basically approved my study, because he was just like, he's looking forward to me being able to actually collect the data, do the study, and then he's looking forward to seeing the results and the study getting published. And I'm just like, okay, thank you. Like, I feel so good that it just feels good when people believe in you, right? And they support what you're doing, like you can hear it come from an actual person's mouth. Like, I support you, I believe in your research, like this is going to be great research. I'm just like, I just feel special because number one, they don't usually do that. They don't usually make phone calls and talk about how much they like your study and different things that they're willing to do to help. And I'm flabbergasted, you guys. Let me stop. But yeah, I feel grateful, and yes, I'm excited about collecting the data. I'm ready to go ahead and move it forward, because time is of essence here, and I'm trying to maximize the time that I have this summer to do things I need to do, like collect data from my research, to write my APA internship essays, which classes start back up the end of August, right? And they said that by that time, when classes start, we are expected to have all of our essays pretty much damn near final draft, right? And it's 4 essays that we do. And for you guys who don't know, APA stands for American Psychological Association. It is it is basically the overseer of our profession, basically. APA. I know you guys probably heard of it before. They have the AMA, American Medical Association, Psychology. We have our own APA. And so, yes, APA is the accrediting body of many institutions. My school is APA accredited, and internships can also be APA accredited. The thing is, you want an accredited internship. Also, you want to receive a degree from an accredited school. So, yes, my program is accredited. And with that, there's a process in getting into an internship, being that is the final stage of the PhD. And so, y'all, I ain't even beginning to tell y'all, like, the shit your girl gotta do. Like, this internship ain't no joke, y'all, the application process. Anyway, so I begin that this fall. We have to pay for each application, which is, I think, $35 per application. They encourage us to submit like 15 to 20 different applications. And I'm just like, that shit is adding up. Can I get a grant or something to pay for this? But it's all things that like we have to do. Like, this is just part of what you got to do. There are a lot of expenses that are associated with getting a doctoral degree. Expenses that they don't really necessarily tell you about before you decide to do it. They just kind of pop up expenses. Like, oh, by the way, you need to pay for travel expenses to go to these interviews. Like flights and hotel and okay. But that's what I have to look forward to this fall, you guys, and I'm excited about it. I'm making way in my budget to be able to accommodate those flights and hotel stays at these 15 different freaking locations I'm about to apply to, mostly on the East Coast, in New York, some out here in California. And so, yes, I want to go ahead and finish those essays that are required by the time we start back classes in the fall in August, because we're supposed to workshop the essays, and then we start to apply in September. Before you know it, y'all, it's going to be all said and done. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm glad that my IRB application was pre-approved. I'm like, that's good to know. It's relieving, because this whole uncertainty of not knowing, like, are they going to approve it? Like, what do I need to do? But I'm excited. I feel blessed. Thank you guys for your support. Like, it's amazing. This time next year, I actually will be finished with my last practicum, which I will be starting next month. My very last practicum, you guys. And it's going to be in a correctional facility. So I'm switching gears. Right now I'm at a psychiatric hospital, switching gears to a correctional facility working with little juvenile kiddos. So I'm excited. I just feel so blessed, and I thank you guys for coming along with the journey with me. Like, it has been one hell of a journey, not just within this PhD program, but my life altogether. And I will be so happy. That's another thing I want to do this summer. I have so many different plans I'm supposed to do this summer. It's just crazy. So also this summer, I made a commitment to myself to finish my autobiography, American Dreamer, which I started writing back in 2009. And actually, the book was really finished in 2010. So I have a complete autobiography that I wrote, but I want to revise it. I want to update it to make it more relevant to the current times, because 2009 is just so long ago, right? So the treat that you guys will get once I release it is that you'll be able to see like where my mind was at back in 2009. So we're talking about 10 years ago. Like, I was 25 years old, 24, 25 years old. You'll be able to see the writings from my 25-year-old mind. Probably not much different than how I think now, but yeah, I haven't really looked at it. it's crazy. I haven't really looked at my autobiography really since I finished writing it. So it's gonna just be amazing for me to open it up and look at it and read it. And it's still there. I mean, I have it saved. I have it backed up in so many different places because I had to make sure that your girl's story is protected. But yes, it's gonna be a wonderful thing. So I plan to finish writing that, updating my autobiography, you know, to the current times. Like, because my autobiography is just not an autobiography. It's like, it's a socio-political autobiography. Whole nother level. And of course, my research influences that. Like, y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see. That's what I'm gonna say right now. But thank you guys for tuning in. I was kind of annoyed in my last video. I know you guys probably saw it towards the end, like, because my neighbors just like to make an appearance, like trying to sneak in. I was like, dude, for real, if you don't get your ass out of my shit. But all right, I'm about to go. Catch you guys later. Love you guys. Bye.